What is social justice? Justice is the concept of fairness. Social justice is based on the premise that people are entitled to same basic rights and freedoms as everybody else. It is the balance between equality and equity. Social justice means that everybody's rights shall be protected and respected. Everybody should have equal opportunities. It doesn't guarantee that the society will be perfect or everybody will be happy, but everybody should have a chance fighting for the life they want. They should not be held back by discriminations or obstacles.
Social justice promotes fairness and equity amongst many aspects of the society. It promotes equal economic, educational, and workplace opportunities. It is important for the security and safety of individuals and communities. According to the National Education Association, the absence of social justice results in social oppression.
Moreover, it ensures that everyone gets the essentials of a good life and adequate health care. It protects people from religion-based discrimination, sexuality-based discrimination, and ageism. It also protects people with disabilities. It defends people from racism. It helps to promote equality between genders, improve educational opportunities for kids, and promote economic equality.
Different forms of social justice in contemporary society. These types of justice have important implications for socio-economic, civil, political, and criminal justice at both national and international levels. Distributive justice or economic justice is concerned with giving all members of society a fair share of the benefits and resources available. However, while everyone might agree that wealth should be distributed fairly, there is much disagreement about what is a fair share. Some possible criteria for distribution are equality, equity, and need. Restorative justice aims to strengthen the community and prevent similar harms from happening in the future. At the national level, such processes are often carried out through offender-victim mediation programs, while at the international level, restorative justice is often a matter of instituting truth and reconciliation programs.
Procedural justice is concerned with making and implementing decisions according to fair procedures that ensure fair treatment. Rules should be impartially followed and applied consistently in order to generate an unbiased decision. Those who are carrying out these procedures should be neutral, and the ones who are getting directly affected by those should have a voice or a representation in the decision-making process. Restorative justice aims to strengthen the community and prevents the similar harms from happening in the future. At the national level, these are often carried out by the Victim Offender Mediation Program, while at the international level, restorative justice is a matter of instituting truth and reconciliation commissions.
Amid growing uncertainty and turmoil around the globe, it takes courage to stand up for what you think is right. It's easy to shake your head in dismay and complain about all that's wrong with the world. But as Gandhiji reminded us in words and actions, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. We all know social justice is an underlying principle for peaceful and prosperous coexistence. But while we all agree, most of us are at loss when it comes to upholding these principles in our everyday life. So in answer to this dilemma, we have compiled a list of ways in which you can put your words into actions and practice social justice every day. Number 1, spread the word. Become active in spreading empowering information, whether it is through words to friends or family or via online networking. Sometimes getting the conversation started is enough to encourage others to join too. Number 2, listen more. Before you head out the door to spread your message, remember to always be courteous and open to hearing what others have to say. While you may not agree on everything, debating on issues you feel strongly about in a non-aggressive and calm fashion can be eye-opening and validating for both them and you.
Number 3. Attend a rally. If history has taught us anything, it's that there is power in numbers. It's all well and good to post information about an event or demonstration that you feel is a part of a cause, But if you put that into actions, you're no better than those who choose to stay silent. Number 4. Reclaim your community. It's vital to know your neighbors and those around you, as you cannot promote social justice on a broader level without a sense of community. So it's important that you may help those who are struggling around you. Number 5. Support local organizations. There are many groups who are fighting for basic human rights. Find the ones whose message resonates with you the most and find out how you can help them in their events and campaigns.
The youth are the future of our nation, and these past few years have shown that their awareness of the concept of social justice as well as their desire to obtain the same is very powerful. To elucidate the same, we have the students of class 11A presenting a short skit on the topic social justice.
Welcome back to India's prime-time talk show, The Youth and You. This is your host Nishtha and this is my co-host Sanchita, and today we are going to talk about the massive non-violent protests that took place this year. While 2020 was an unexpected year for many of us, certain incidents brought us together as a whole in our fight for humanity.
With the murder of George Floyd, a casualty of police brutality, the Black Lives Matter movement took off most notably in the USA and Europe, but it had an impact at home as well. To shed more light on this, we have two youth activists with us today, Ms. Nayab and Ms. Arshi. So, young activists, what do you think is the essence of the Black Lives Matter movement?
Thank you, ma'am, for having us on this show. And the answer to your question is, the Black Lives Matter movement is largely driven by the power of the educated youth who are well aware of social justice and racial inequalities. The movement has brought the bravery of the young generations to the forefront, as they have perfectly demonstrated that they expect the government and all authorities to respect the existence of all kinds of people from all walks of life, or they will face resistance in the form of protests.
What impact do you think this movement has had in India?
Well, the most obvious is the change in the name of brand Fair and Lovely to Glow and Lovely, and calling out of the entertainment industry on their double standards pertaining to skin color. It has also effectively been demonstrated in front of people the power of raising one's voice in face of injustice and the power of the desire to obtain social justice.
Well, thank you for joining us today. India's desire for justice came to the forefront with the Hathras rape case, which led to nationwide protests led by young activists such as yourself. While it was an unfortunate incident that I must say no one should ever have to experience, it saw the emergence of another generation of activists. Joining us today will be Ms. Chanpreet from their ranks.
Welcome, ma'am. When we took suggestions from social media platforms on what to ask you, the most popular one was what impact do you think the protests had on the general public's view pertaining to such situations?
I think the protest concerning the unfortunate rape case had an impact on two major spheres. One is the casteism and then the gender. It highlighted that despite our best efforts, casteism is still very much prevalent in India and has a massive impact in people's lives, especially those of the lower class. It also exposed the massive gap between the two genders and the daily struggle of women. Despite being a progressive country, women in India face sexism on a daily basis to extreme extents, and this case was just another one in the long list of atrocities committed against women.
And if I may add, while the older generations are largely responsible to the unfortunate way things are progressing in society, the response of the youth and their call for justice gave hope to me and to many others that the future, instead of being worse, might be better.
Well, I am afraid that's all the time we have for today. Stay tuned for the next episode of The Youth and You, where we discuss everything under the sun so that the public may have better knowledge of current events. Thank you for watching.
The Supreme Court of India on 5th May 2017 sentenced death to the accused of the 4 years pending Delhi rape case, also known as the Nirbhaya rape case. A 23-year-old woman, Jyoti Singh, was brutally gang raped and tortured by 6 people when she was returning home in a private bus from South Delhi. This case had shaken the whole world, and now there are more strict laws for the safety and protection of women in this country. In July 2019, the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Act was passed by the Parliament, which came into force in September 2019. It criminalizes the discriminatory practice of triple talaq, that is, Islamic instant divorce, available only to men, making it punishable by up to 3 years of imprisonment.
Black Lives Matter is a global social justice activism movement that began in the United States and has since spread around the globe. The movement seeks to attain racial justice for Africans, Americans, and those who are identified as Black. Activists who participate in the movement aim to bring an end to violence and systematic racism aimed against Black people. On September 29, a 19-year-old woman died of injuries after she was allegedly gang raped by a group of men in a field in Hathras district in the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. She was a Dalit member of a community at the bottom of India's richest caste hierarchy, while the 4 alleged perpetrators who have been arrested and charged with murder and rape are the members of a dominant upper caste. The woman had spent 2 weeks fighting for her life in a Delhi hospital after the alleged gang rape on September 14, which has left her with severe damage to her spinal cord.
John Rawls argues that the only way we can arrive at a fair and just rule is if we imagine ourselves to be in a situation in which we have to make decisions about how society should be organized, although we do not know which position we would ourselves occupy in that society. Rawls describes this as thinking under a wheel of ignorance. He expects that in such a situation of complete ignorance about our possible position and status in society, each person would decide in the way they generally do, that is, in terms of their own interests. This would not help those who are born in a disadvantaged section of society. It is of course not easy to erase our identities and to imagine ourselves under a wheel of ignorance, but then it is equally difficult for most people to be self-sacrificing and share their good fortune with strangers. The merit of the wheel of ignorance position is that it expects people to just be their usual rational selves. They are expected to think for themselves and choose what they regard to be in their interest. Rawls therefore argues that rational thinking, not morality, would lead us to be fair and judge impartially regarding how to distribute the benefits and burdens of a society.
To conclude, the term social justice in the widest sense implies a reordering of social life in such a manner that the material and moral benefits of social efforts are not concerned to a tiny privileged class, but accrue to the masses to ensure the upliftment of the lower, weaker and underprivileged sections. In the end, I would like to quote John Rawls, who said, "You cannot compensate for the sufferings of the distressed by enhancing the joys of the prosperous."